Hello, people of the earth, welcome to Front Page Fables. Today, let's dive into some cheating stories, but before. I, 26, and found out my girlfriend, 32F of 3 years, has been sleeping with people while we were seeing each other. So recently, my girlfriend and my relationship hasn't exactly been smooth sailing as of late. In the first 2 years, it was seemingly perfect. Recently, the trust has gone a little. She went through my phone while I was out the other day, and obviously found nothing except a couple messages to my friend whom I confided in, talking about a few negatives of our relationship, seeking advice. I thought back on our relationship since it's been rocky and noticed a few inconsistencies. So I decided to go through her phone while she was asleep, and what I found was horrifying to me, to say the least. My girlfriend and I had started talking seriously, seeing each other in the new year of 2021. We talked constantly through text and on FaceTime, etc., until we met up in April of 2021. And by the end of April, we were in a fully fledged relationship. I found out via text between her friends on her phone that she had been meeting up with and having sex with 3 men that I know of during this time. She also knew this was wrong, as there are messages saying she needs to stop, and she's lucky she's gotten away with it this long. She lied to me and told me the last time she had been with anyone was mid-2020, before we were talking seriously. She held on to that lie all the way through, and I now have a child, house, and family with this woman who was sleeping with half of our hometown by the sounds of things. She told me she had only slept 9 men in total when we got together. That number, through me seeing older texts with other men arranging meetups, etc., seems to be a lot closer to 30-40 men. This in the text to her old friends was glorified by them. But then again, was I naive at the start to think that a woman who is best friends with a woman who has slept with over 120 men would be any different? She said so, but in hindsight, it was a red flag I missed. She doesn't know that I know all of this information, but I really don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do for the best. I feel like she will try and make out it was okay because we weren't officially together, but I want to make sure I'm not going insane before I fight against that claim. Any advice on what to do from here, because I am struggling. I think my F24 fiancé M29 is cheating on me, and I confronted him. I think my fiancé is cheating me because yesterday I looked through his phone and found deleted messages between him and 3 women. For the sake of the story, I'm going to be changing names. My fiancé Jake and I have been together for a year and 5 months and engaged for 5 months now. A little backstory. Back in October, I was looking through his phone because I wanted to find out information about the proposal, and I stumbled across a webcam chat room, if you know that I mean, that he was frequenting. Look though his messages, I realized that he liked to be humiliated. I honestly didn't think anything of it and kinda moved on. I figured we all have our vices, and it's really not a big deal to me. Fast forwarding to 2 days ago. I woke up at about 5:30 a.m. to use the bathroom, and something told me to look through his phone, but I honestly didn't expect to find anything because I know this man is obsessed and worships the ground that I walk on. He does all the cooking man jobs around the house, taking out the garbage, fixing things, lifts the heavy things, etc. And he genuinely seems to be happy in our relationship. He loves talking to me about how much he loves me and our future together. When I looked through his phone, I found text messages between him and 3 women. All of the messages are of the explicit variety. However, there's flirting mixed in. Specifically with one of the women, let's call her Beware, she said, "Sometimes I wish we could be together, but it gets too late." His response is, "I wish also. I don't like to say never, and we're not going to be in a situation where we're going to cheat. But if we had the chance that he would jump on it," she says, "well, marriage is a permanent thing." And he says, "I'm not going to say never until we're both dead." The rest of the messages are just sext. They don't get very intense or detailed, but sexts nonetheless. There was only one picture sent to be of his penis with an emoji completely covering it and a picture of her. All the messages from all 3 women go back about a month, with the last text to any one of them being last week. I didn't know how to feel. I was just completely in shock. I wasn't sad, happy, mad, nothing, I just felt numb. I love this man more than anything in this world. It took me completely by surprise. I used to say that I would put all of the money I ever make for the rest of my life on the fact that he would never cheat on me. I wanted to wait until I got some rest to confront him, but when I got back into bed, he was awake. Naturally, he tried to cuddle with me, and he was like, "Come over here, baby, come here." When he said baby, I rolled my eyes accidentally, and he said, "Did you just roll your eyes?" And I said yes. He asked me why, and I exploded on him. I started crying and yelling, asking him about B and the other women. I asked him how he could do this to me to us. He kept saying, "It's not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. Please let me explain." When I finally let him explain, he tells me these women are women he met in his kink chat rooms, and they only talk when he feel like he wants to get off like that. But then explains that he doesn't really get off by this kink, but he just gets an erection, and then he's good to finish on his own. He also says that this mostly happens in phone call form because he liked to hear them say these things to him. He says he was embarrassed and ashamed to tell me about this kink, which is why the messages were deleted and why he was even talking to them in the first place. I then let him know that I've known about this kink since October, and I was fine with it when it was just chat rooms, but I felt like because they were texting personally about way more than just the kink that this was a severe boundary cross for me, and I would consider it cheating. He says to him it just felt like the chat room, but ultimately owned up to everything and agreed that a line was crossed, and he was very sorry sincerely. As for the flirtatious messages, he says that was just a part of it, and he didn't mean those things. He assured me that he had no issue with going to therapy and figure out why he liked these things, and trying to stop has always been on his mind. He also said that he would block the women and never talk to them again because I am more important to him, and he's sorry that he even put himself and us in this situation. After a few hours of taking it all in and thinking about it, I felt like I believed what he said, but I did lose trust in him, but I don't want to leave him, and we've never had a talk about what the each of us would consider cheating. I want to stay, but I keep thinking about it, and I'm not sure if I should really consider this cheating because he assured me that nothing physical ever happened with anybody, and he never stepped outside of our relationship. I am very torn. Husband cheated while I was pregnant. My husband and I recently got married after 14 years together. Yeah, 14. We both wanted children and got pregnant within the first year of marriage. During pregnancy, I still was very much into being intimate with him. However, he was increasingly getting uncomfortable with the idea as the baby was getting bigger. Despite him not wanting to be intimate, everything else was normal. He went to every appointment with me and didn't seem to be anywhere for an unreasonable amount of time. There were moments where a faded red flag went up with his wording, but one immediately dismissed it cause he's always been the faithful type. I know people would scoff, but I know it to be true. He was cheated on in a past relationship and told me at the beginning of our relationship, now 16 years ago, that if I ever wanted to be with someone else, just break up with him first. His faithfulness is one of the reasons I stuck around for so long and why I married and had a child with him. Our baby was born a month after our first wedding anniversary, and aside from postpartum recovery and having a new baby in the house, everything still seemed normal. Up until I had healed and was medically able to be intimate again, things were fine. Whenever I would try to initiate something, he would shoot it down and it became very weird between us. I felt he wasn't attracted to me anymore since having a baby, and despite wanting to be held and touched, I didn't push the matter. His birthday was approaching, and I thought it would be a good time to try to initiate something again. This was 3 months postpartum. He put the baby to bed, and before I could start anything, he sat down and told me that he had cheated on me at the end of last year. Immediately, I stopped him and said, while I was pregnant, "Yes, this is a baby he wanted. This is a marriage relationship he wanted. We had been together for 14 years before marriage, and only 1 year into it, he cheats. He waited until I tied myself to him. My name, finances, and a child. It's 100% understandable not to want to be intimate 9 months into pregnancy. On both sides. However, I still did want to, and clearly he did too. It made no sense to me and still doesn't. Apparently, they decided the 2 times they did it were the only times because our child was about to be born. The only reason he told me was because she found out she has herpes. He got tested, found out that he does too, and now wants me to get tested to see if he's had it all this time or she gave it to him. We've been tested for STDs before, but they don't routinely test for herpes because it's so easily transmittable through kissing and sharing food that a huge chunk of the population has it even without ever showing signs. I asked him, "You didn't use a condom?" He says he did, but not for oral. I want to leave him so badly, but I feel trapped. If this had happened any time before having a child, I wouldn't be so torn or feel so stuck. I knew he was a good man to marry and have a child with. I knew he would be faithful and loving. That's all we needed, and I specifically stayed with him cause of it. I never wanted to have kids with someone, and then be a single parent. Now I know nothing. I am mentally tormented that I entertained another woman while being with my partner. What's the best way to get over this feeling of disgust and regret? Hello, I'm currently going through a tough time dealing with the fact that over a year ago, I entertained another woman that would flirt with me while having my long-distance partner, and I didn't put a stop to it. I want to add that this person would only have conversation with me during my lunch period and through text as well. I also want to include that I have never been physically unfaithful with my partner. She has been the only woman I have touched or had any sort of romantic relationship with. Anyways, this person would openly flirt with everyone, and I didn't take it as something bad since I had always hear her compliment and make sexual jokes with the other people that would sit at our lunch table. She had never made a sexual comment towards me, but she would compliment my looks and specifically my hair. We would text outside of school sometimes every day, and every time she would compliment me, I would follow up with a, "You're so nice, you're making me blush lol." Although I said these things, I really only meant it in a joking manner. We developed some sort of friendship to where I invited her to go get coffee with a friend. That never happened since I stopped going to shul frequently, and after about 4 months of talking I had growing question in me, which was whether she wanted something other than a friendship with me since her compliments got a little more serious. So I asked her nervously if she wanted to go out with me. She said she would think about it, but I was shocked she would even think about it, so a couple days later I asked again, and she denied. It was the answers I was looking for because I knew I had my partner after having that conversation, and making that question I distanced myself and would rarely message her, which was a mistake because I should have completely cut her off from my life. We only exchanged very few words during lunch, and she reveled to me that she liked girls. Anyways, shortly after I stopped going to school, and I found out later on that she was moving, I only messaged her one more time to ask how she was doing and to wish her luck in her new school. It has been a year now since we last had any sort of communication, but the fact that I let a woman that close and even asked her a question like that haunts me to till this day. I've talked to my partner about it, and she says she doesn't think about it since I didn't reciprocating any sort of love or affectionate words with her. But I feel disgusted in myself, and it's been eating at my mental health to the point where I've tried everything to not relapse. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting, I just don't want to lose my partner of 4 years over some stupid mistake I made as a kid being 16. I wish I could go back in time and not make that stupid mistake so it wouldn't be eating away at me this way. I have been able to be with my partner since then and I've forgotten but about a month ago I've had these thoughts of being a total scumbag to my partner. I'm starting therapy to help me process through these thoughts. TLDR, I emotionally cheated on my partner and feel horrible for it, even after admitting to it. Am I overthinking this? Please advise. This is my first Reddit account and first post, and I understand it may not be as bad what others are going through, so I'm pondering asking strangers for advice for a while now. I may be looking too much into it, but I will let you be the judge. I know I will leave details out. I am trying to make shit very short or as short as possible. I have been married for about 20 years and have known my wife since we were kinds, literally infants. She was never into boys growing up, and I did have multiple girlfriends and kinda had to wait until she was ready to have a relationship with her, as I always knew that she was the girl I wanted to marry. She grew up very traditional, and I really liked that about her. She grew up in a very tight family, and really took HSR values from her grandmother mostly, not her mom. We finally got together and engaged at the age of 22, I 22, she 21, and shortly got married and moved in together. We have currently 2 kids, 15 and 10. And I have been the only person she has been with. This has been the reason of some indifferences in our marriage, as I have exes that she is sometimes jealous about, but I have been an open book on everything that I have done in my life, and I have cut all ex-partners from my life. Initially, when we got together, I was a bit of a party animal and would go out drinking with the boys. No drugs, just drinks, and maybe a smoke here and there. I have never been addicted to anything, but she really frowned upon smoking and even drinking, and we would have arguments about it. She would let me have it, and let me know that she did not approve of any smoking or heavy drinking. Her mother was a heavy smoker, and she was always afraid of losing her mom to cancer, and her grandfather died due to alcohol-related issues. For this reason, I stopped indulging on smokes black and mild or cigars, and when I do drink, I have a limit of no more than 2-3 beers, socially once or twice a year, nothing more. We were going through a rough moment before COVID where economically we were struggling, and during those times, which was after our second child, I noticed on Instagram that there was a friend of mine male, which was not really that good of a friend, but someone I knew from school, and I graduated overseas with, that was liking and commenting on only the pictures I posted with my wife. This struck me a bit, so I snooped a bit on his profile because my wife and I would follow basically the same people. I noticed that my wife had liked some of his pictures, which is fine, and he liked some of hers. What struck me was that in his profile there were pictures of him smoking cigars, or even pictures of just an alcohol glass with a cigar on top, where there was a like from my wife. But why? I thought this was a deal breaker, and you did not like or tolerate people that smoked or drinked. She even criticized pics I would upload with a cigar on my own social media. Am I reading too much into this? I asked her what was all this about, and she denied ever even talking to the guy. I cannot say I have found anything ever. However, upon confronting her, I asked if she was following him in other platforms, and she said no. However, this was not true because she was following him on FB, and shortly after our discussion, she unfriended him from both platforms. It has been some years, but I still think about this a lot and cannot shake it. We currently have no forms of social media other than WhatsApp to communicate with family. Any advice would be appreciated. Was my ex-girlfriend cheating during our relationship? Me 19F was dating my girlfriend Maria 17F for a year and 2 months. For context, I known Maria for 2 years, and we started dating when I was 17 and she was 16. It took little to no time for me to fall in love with her, as our friendship was great, and I've never felt more understood. But once our relationship developed a bit more, I felt as if I was dating someone that I didn't know. This is my first real relationship, as I've only had one in the past, but it only lasted about 3 months. It is to be noted that I started college around 7 months ago, and it was a very hard change as I had just started to get comfortable and making friends in high school. 4 months into the relationship, we started having trouble due to her friends and the way she prioritized her time. She made me cut off my group of friends, who was made up for 4 people, because she said she didn't like them and how they've treated me. I didn't want to cut off my friends, but she would threaten to break up with me if I didn't do as she said. I cut off all my friends due to her demands, but I was allowed to keep one of them, Alejandra, as she is basically like a big sister to me, and my girlfriend didn't see her as a threat. The bigger problem came when her mother found out she was dating a girl and threatened to send her back to Mexico because the devil had influenced her. We worked through the problems with her mother, and I thought that we were working on spending more time together. However, whenever I would bring up my feelings about her hanging out with people that liked her and wanted to have sex with her, she would tell me, "I don't care about how you feel." We broke up about 5 months ago, and my friend Alejandro was the mediator between the both of us, as she refused to talk to me. Alejandra had to come to my house when we went back home for winter break to talk to my mother about my growing depression and how she was worried about me, since she thought I was isolated and she couldn't be close to me. We're roommates since she doesn't have family in this country. Winter break was a hassle to get through, as I had planned many dates around those times to spend with her and was very excited about it, since she never planned dates for us. She refused to let me block her or exchange things that we had given each other to borrow, like clothes, jewelry, etc., as we would often wear each other's things and give them back. During these 5 months, she has been treating me like we are still together, and she said that even though we're not official, we are mutually exclusive with our sex lives. I've never been with anyone else other than her, but she has been with other people and tried to assure me that I was the only one. 2 nights ago, I spoke to one of the friends that she made me cut off around 9 months ago and apologized for being a shitty friend and cutting her off out of nowhere. I've explained to her that I didn't want to lose my girlfriend and ultimately chose to obey her, but that I was sorry and it wasn't her fault. My friend was also friends with Maria, but they are no longer friends because my friend told her that she thought she was going down a bad path and maybe needed better and more supportive friends that would encourage her to do good things. Maria would always talk bad about my friend in public and make a joke out of her all the time, even blatantly saying she didn't like her, but still hanged out with her. My friend confided in me that people in our town — we live in a fairly small town — thought that me and Maria were broken up a long time ago because she was always kissing her friends on the cheek and even cuddling with them at other people's houses. My friend also said that she thought we were broken up because Maria has now been dating Justin for about 5 months. Justin was one of the friends that I felt insecure about, as they seemed very close, but I didn't want to seem overprotective or jealous. My friend sent me screenshots of Maria talking about how the sex was evil and no longer vanilla, and how he had came inside her not too long ago. I don't know how to feel because my birthday was a week ago, and she spent it with me, and we were intimate a few weeks ago. I went to her house at 12:30 the night that I found out about all of this, and gave her all of her things back in pristine condition, but she refused to give me mine's back. Alejandra texted her proposing to instead meet up with her without me so that Maria would feel more comfortable to get my stuff back. Maria said she donated my things to Goodwill, including sentimental possessions from people that are no longer here, as a punishment for showing up to her house unannounced late at night. This whole situation makes me feel crazy, and now I'm not sure who I dated and loved. I keep wondering if she cheated on me during our relationship, since during one of our intimate times she moaned one of her friend's name, but then started crying and saying that she was thinking about work, and since they worked together she just blurted it out. She kept crying for over an hour, saying that now I think that she was cheating on me and that she would never do that, and that I needed to see it from her perspective as she was just worried about being late to work. Am I crazy for thinking that she cheated on me with at least two people, Justin and her friend from work? Edit. This is my first post and I can provide more context if needed. Please be nice, I'm just trying to get a second opinion.